Yo, it's your boy, Sorry I Am 5G. That's 5G. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of A Quarter in a Dream podcast. The podcast for the culture, the podcast for the dreamers. A pretty gruesome case was brought to my attention. I want to shout out to those who, put me up on game. My man Thao at Fam Over TV Network and 10 Ton Quarantino with Eye Open. So this case is revolving around Mahogany Jackson, a 20-year-old young Black woman, also the mother of a toddler, who was savagely beaten, brutalized, and ultimately murdered, execution style, by 7 individuals, 3 of whom were women. I do want to give a warning. If you suffer from mental health issues, I would urge you to please click out of this episode and go and find a more suitable episode. I care more about your mental health than I do about getting a click. So, with that being said, if you guys are ready to hear these gut-wrenching details, well, here they are.
Now on the floor, the more information we learn about the disturbing kidnapping and murder of Mahogany Jackson, the harder it is and more awful it is to hear.
Some of those suspects accused in her killing making an appearance in court today. Bria Chapman joins us now live with the latest. And Bria, the details that you heard today in court are disturbing and heartbreaking.
Yeah, Morgan, that is right. This case is beyond disturbing, and it was an emotional day in court. Now, one of the saddest details I learned today is that Mahogany Jackson came to the first location thinking these people were friends. Investigators say they then tortured her, and the things that were described are why Judge Keisha Davis says she denied all of these suspects a bond. Now, Birmingham Police Homicide Detective Mark Green says the first stop was the home of suspect Brandon Pope. Now, that's where Jackson was beaten outside while she was naked. Officers say some of the suspects beat her while others recorded the beatings. Now, Jackson was stomped and kicked, and then prosecutors say one of the suspects can be heard saying, "Put her in the trunk." And then she was dragged naked in the street. Now, Jackson was taken to a second location, and I want to warn you, this will be hard to hear. Prosecutors say Jackson was sexually assaulted at gunpoint. Officials say she was handcuffed, beaten, pistol whipped, and then spat on. Now, Jackson's family, including her mother, were present in court today, and as they read out the evidence, you could hear them getting very emotional.
How do you guys feel about the details that are emerging from this case? What you didn't hear in the news clip was that Mahogany showed up at one of the first perpetrators' homes. And I'm going to use this word loosely, but one of the friends where she was assaulted, stripped nude, pistol whipped, and stuffed in a car against her will at gunpoint while they recorded. Now, this assault didn't just take place there and end there. No. They took Mahogany on a despicable ride to a second location where more shitbags joined in on the melee. But on their way to the second location, while being filmed, at gunpoint, she was ordered to give fellatio to one of these young shitbags that were in the car, and then ordered to do it right. I'm so glad this young woman is no longer suffering. So when they got her to the second location, they repeatedly sodomized her and a gang of other horrific details that I really just don't even want to press the button on. In my opinion, anything outside of love is a learned behavior. So it begs the question, what the fuck were they learning at home? That this kind of behavior could even be thought of. I want to give it up for Mahogany because she tried to comply to get away with her life. She was even able to send a text message to her mom and her sister saying that she had been kidnapped and to not call the phone back, but call the police rather. And that's what kicked off the search. But these shitbags recorded this horrific crime. And from the sounds of it, might have been live streaming it, and that's why they were able to locate her body so quickly. Now, when they discovered she had a phone on her, they tried to beat the password to her phone out of her, and she wouldn't give it. So they promised her that she would be able to leave with her life. If nothing else, they've already taken her dignity, her sense of peace, her sanity at this point. The last thing that she needed to cling on to was her life for that toddler she was caring for. And when they told her, let us in the phone, and we'll let you live, she complied. And they killed her anyway. Mahogany was found early Monday morning on a 1700 block off of one of the worst strips in Birmingham. I think they call it Dead Man's Row. So these shitbags didn't make it all that hard to be found, which leads me to believe that these were some psychotic people. 8 people involved in this situation. And wouldn't you know, 3 of them are women. My first thought was, they must have a lot of inbred, dumb motherfuckers down there to do something this despicable to another human being. You know, my heart goes out to Mahogany's toddler, her friends and family. Because no one, and I mean no one, outside of pedophiles deserves to go like this. Now, I wonder if Alabama, nope, yep, here we go. Alabama does support capital punishment. I don't, but in this case, I do. Please send them to the divine creator sooner rather than later. Now, I will say, because of something called the Naya's Law, 4 out of the 7 or 8 that were charged with this savagery, with this mayhem, were automatically denied bond. Awesome. But the remaining suspects, shitbags, have the right to a bond hearing. If I was them, I'd leave my ass right in that jail cell. Because you're not going anywhere, buddies or budettes. This is truly one of the most horrifying cases I've come across in a long time. Like, I'm not even a true crime podcast, to be honest, but like, I couldn't turn away from this. Her voice needs to be spoken for. I don't know, if you're anything like me, then a small part of you, if not more, feels some strange connection to Mahogany. Because there's nothing in this world bad enough that can warrant this kind of treatment from another human being to another human being. But then again, all of these little fuckers sound like monsters to me. But it just goes to show that the society we live in, when it comes to wanting to inflict hurt on someone, is getting worse every year. Remember, these are behaviors that are learned from their immediate environments. We must do better as a community, and I dare say this, as friends, parents, family. We must stop treating each other this way. And in my last video interview with the young man, the basketball skills developer, when we talked about him losing a couple of his program players to gun violence in Boston, he said the response was abysmal because everyone wanted to play the race card. Well, I hope you don't plan on playing the race card here, Birmingham. Because again, these were young black hands that took the life of this young Black queen. Guess it's true. Just like thou be saying, man, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. It's a real tragedy. But I digress. Thank you guys for tuning in. I don't even know what to call these segments, these 20, 30-minute long segments, but we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, let's hashtag justice for Mahogany. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I'd like to thank everyone for their support. It definitely goes noticed. Make sure you read the description on the show main page. We're almost available to drop subscriptions, paid subscriptions. But in the meantime, if you want to help out the podcast, feel free to send a Cash App that's in the link in the description. This is Surrey IM 5G. That's 5 for 5, 5G. Have a good night, dreamers.